Ladies and gentlemen, this is Space by the channel Incognito Mode. Yes, another interesting video. Yes, this is another in the field type of thing. That's usually what happened with this channel. And topic is space, so I'm gonna love this. As you know, space is one of my favorite topics that is. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to say one or two things about this. So let's watch it. I love Internet Historian, basically even the alternative challenge like Incognito Mode and Story Mode, right? Anything Internet Historian is involved with is gonna be awesome. So let's watch it.
Space. Space. What is space? Why do I have to wear a spacesuit? That is so formal. Too cold? Not a problem. I'll just put on a jacket. Why does everyone say you can't go faster than the speed of light? It's super simple. You just go the speed of light, and then you push on the accelerator a little more.
It's that simple.
Oh no, not the sun. The water will put it out. Hey Alexa, play Who Let the Dogs Out.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't
Alexa,
do that.
play the thing. No. Alexa, play Who Let the Dog... Ah-ha-ha. Now I will be able to get all the best nudes. Yeah, you should have closed your curtains. Ooh, I wonder what's in there. Oh, hey, how you doing, little fella? Oh, I think he's just sleeping. Aha! I knew it was fake the whole time. All this and more on this episode of In the
Green screen on the moon.
Space. What you know about space?
Not a lot.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning.
Oh.
Not the beginning of the universe.
Oh.
The beginning of how people thought space was.
Oh, yeah, so the history of space. Okay, yeah.
So we've got flat Earth, right? Now, there's going to be a whole bunch of people in the comments that go, oh, actually, they've known that the Earth was round since the Greeks. We know, everybody knows. No one thinks you're smart, shut up. But there were plenty of...
Oh, there goes my 5-minute explanation. Yeah, I like how somebody actually said the same thing. Oh, actually, they've known that Earth was round since the Greeks. But yeah, that is kind of true, right? Greeks, I think Pythagoras first knew. I mean, he didn't know, he just know that round shape is just a perfect shape, so it must be round. That's what he thought, right? Eratosthenes. Did I pronounce that right? Yeah. I know it's hard to pronounce. But I guess he was the one who actually scientifically discovered many things, right? I mean, first he saw the angle. He went to Alexandria, saw the angle of the shadow and determined from that. Then he went to a well, right? And proved that, it's not, sunlight is not coming directly straight. It's coming from a bit south. Then he put a pole there. Basically did many experiments to see that. Right, then Greeks, even before that, Greeks kind of saw the shadow line on the moon, and they're like, oh, look at that round, so the Earth must be round.
Societies that did think that the world was flat. Okay, I saw this in a lecture once, or I overheard it on the bus, or something. But this is how it goes. Okay. You've got like this circular flat Earth, right, and then you've got land in the middle. They call this area the Mediterranean because that's the middle land, right? It's right in the center. And then past the land, you've got water. Now, all that water is mostly fine, but if you go a little further out, there's a lot more water, like a shitload more water. These disk maps you see are not to scale. It goes way further out. But if you try to traverse them, what will happen is sea monsters, right? They'll destroy your ship. Easy. And you can tell that sea monsters are real because once in a while you get some weird thing that washes up to shore. If somehow you make it past the sea monsters, you encounter mud.
Just mud?
It's flat mud. And it mixes with the land. So you can no longer pass by it in a boat. So you can try to walk across it, but it's basically like quicksand, you just straight into it. But somehow, if you manage to traverse this plain of mud, which is even larger than the ocean itself, it would start to get colder and colder. And eventually that mud becomes frozen, and then it turns to ice. And then it's just cold nothingness for far, far longer than all the oceans. And then eventually you come to a big mountain range. And this mountain range goes right round the Earth. And it is the thing that at the very top holds up the filament, which is the thing that encompasses the stars.
So the mountains go up and then it holds the star canopy above the Earth.
It holds up the heavens.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Half of the model is there to dissuade people from trying to find new things, right? Because if you go out on a boat in the ocean, you die. It's the perfect dissuasion. Hey, look, don't bother trying to discover Australia. If you go out there, you're going to get eaten, then you're going to sink in the mud, then you're going to freeze to death, and then there's also nothing out there. And that's what keeps
Classic
everyone
Buddhist thing.
safe and alive.
You tell the same story to your kid in the village to not go out into the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same thing.
And that, circling around, is why they tell us not to go to Mars, you see. Don't come back.
I do think we'll colonize Mars. Probably not quite in our lifetime.
You reckon? I
yeah.
think we'll land a person there on Mars in 20 years.
20 years. You're a dreamer, internet historian.
A lot
Yes,
of the original
possible.
impetus for the space race to the moon was out of competition with the Soviet Union, right? Then we beat them and everyone went, nah, can't be bothered. Now we're back at war with China, so...
Yeah, basically, it was never about, conquering moon. It was always about, beating Soviet Union. Once Soviet Union fell, like, there was no reason to do that, right? Obviously, there was scientific reason to, but Senate never approved of it, basically.
I reckon space race back on. Otherwise, China's going to stick a big flag in it and say, actually, you know what, Mars? It's always belonged to China.
Their flag would look better on Mars, just saying.
It'd blend in too much.
It
already
already
red.
looks like a flag for Mars. It's got stars on it and it's red. It's perfect.
That's hard to argue with.
I say give it to them. And let's be real, a lot of people are probably going to die colonizing Mars, like, at first. They've got the manpower for it. Everyone will just be fighting over the bit where everyone's landing. It's not like someone will be like, well, I'm going to go over to this part of Mars, and, like, that'll be my part. Yeah, I think I'm going to stay here where the Twinkies and the women arrive.
Yeah, you know how you don't want your enemy to have a neighboring country or have influence over a neighboring country? This is basically that. You don't want Chinese Communist Party to have Mars, basically. Yeah, people panic, basically, directly.
Think you'd want to sit up at the poles? Because that's where all the ice is, right? Resources. But also, because of the rotation of the planet and the angle you come in, it's actually more difficult to land there as well.
I see.
So you would have to actually essentially approach by land. Easier to defend. So you're there on the ice, you've got all your water, and then you're just picking off anyone who dares to approach one of those Mars rovers. The Curiosity rovers, I would presume.
That would be super fun. So you're saying if you're going to fight for Mars,
Slower.
you'd stay at the top. 'Cause This is mine. I like that. Yeah, solid.
Build a big igloo, big ice wall, tell everyone to get the fuck out. That'd be awesome.
I love that.
All right. So Mars thing, I mean, first of all, I think there is going to be a station there. I'm not going to say colony because that's a big word. Colony seems like a distance thing, but a station there, manned station at least. Even temporary. I think first there's going to be temporary station, then people will come back, then they'll basically try to stay there, and eventually it will stable out. And I think they would do that inside a crater because that's the best place. I mean, you don't have to worry about lots of radiation and shit. Yeah. And the first thing about that, map, first of all, I said the moon thing, right? Like Greeks knew the moon's shadow. I mean, if it's a flat, round disk, it can also create that kind of a shadow, but obviously it has to be in a perfect angle every time. But say even if it is, then the moon thing would make sense. But one thing is, why the fuck wouldn't it be a ball? I'm not saying round, a fucking ball, a sphere. Why wouldn't it be sphere, right? When something gets bigger, gravity would crush it into sphere. That's, laws of physics. In order for anything to be flat, all laws of physics would go out the window, right? So people go out in the way to say that everything, from the laws of physics to everything, the laws of physics they experience every day, everything is false in order to say that Earth is flat, and they're okay with it. I just don't understand that.
Here's the problem. It's 1960s, NASA, and they can't figure out how to get things into space. It's too far up, you see. How do we get past the filament into the stars? Ordinary things, you're our best scientist. You gotta come up with something that'll get us there. What do you got? Ordinary rocket propulsion, perhaps? Mentos and Coke. What's the big new idea?
So this is what I've got so far.
Right?
Using
A man
paint.
kneeling on the ground, praying to get to space. I like it. That's a great idea, Ordinary Things. Let me get you the funding right now.
No, not quite. This is a dog. See, my plan is
A trebuchet.
Sort of a trebuchet, yeah.
Didn't see that
Let me
coming.
show you my idea. You've heard of CERN, right?
Yeah, they got the big underground thing.
Yes. So
Hadron
CERN
Collider.
is basically a 25-kilometer ring underground, powered by gigantic magnets that send particles in one direction, getting them faster and faster and faster, and then they send particles in the other direction, and then eventually they let them collide.
Cool.
Now, what if you had an extra track
Yes.
that went like this? You got something up to 99% the speed of light, and then you just hit the switch, and then capsule goes whoosh, terminal velocity.
Love that. So you're thinking you build up as much momentum as possible on Earth using magnets rather than rockets.
Yep.
Is it the size of atoms in this instance? Or
We're gonna have to build a bigger one.
All right, bigger CERN. Got it.
And all the things will survive probably at 99% speed of light. Why not? Yeah, we can just definitely do that.
All right, massive
We can
CERN.
even send a
just make the
human.
hole in
Nothing
the
will
middle
happen to
bigger.
him.
Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah,
Atom-sized
fine.
hole,
That'll
too
do.
small. The only problem I can see is that we're sending people through the Earth's atmosphere at almost the speed of light. They will immediately explode. I think the solution is to put a dog in it.
Yeah.
You know how funny it would be if it was like a Tuesday and the supervisor was out of the office for the day, and then he kind of came back, oh, I just forgot some of my papers, and he comes in, and the guys at CERN are all gathered around because they're firing great through CERN at a big cartoonish brick wall. Yeah, go Dave, yeah.
I would love to be at the CERN Christmas party where someone's just like, yeah, man, I'm gonna do a shit in the CERN. Because that's what it's called, the CERN.
This CERN.
I would
I think putting orange in the sun and accelerating at that speed would be catastrophic. But yeah, yeah, they're just being hooligans. I mean, I can imagine that. Why not?
find it very difficult not to get in the CERN machine, I think, if I was there.
You got on that blimp. Do you reckon you can get into CERN?
I reckon I could give it a go.
All right, if there's anyone from CERN watching here,
Yeah.
my boy needs a ticket and one for his lady.
I'll email them now. People are thinking about space travel all wrong. They're rubes, those guys at NASA, I tell you, rubes. They keep trying to send us to space when we
Yeah.
should be sending space to us.
That's not a bad idea at all. Now, space elevator, very difficult. You build the thing 1,000 kilometers up, and then the tip of it is actually rotating faster than the base of it by differences in like hundreds of kilometers an hour. Tensile strength, whole thing wants to break apart, right? Now, if somehow you could make a big anchor. Wait, how do you draw an anchor? Here. It wouldn't need to be one rope, because one rope is not going to stay strong.
2 ropes.
Here's 20 meters of rope, and then a big joint. Here's 20 meters of rope and a big joint. And you just do that all the way back to Earth.
Love it.
Okay, you'll need like 150,000 kilometers worth of rope. But once you're there, all of a sudden you can just pull things across it, right? What am I missing?
There is one thing.
Yes.
I think the moon moves. So what you're going to end up doing is sort of like wrapping the Earth round. That's the one problem. Otherwise, it's flawless.
I've got a solution.
I think there are more than one. There are a million problems. One day, right? One day, moon's gonna stop and basically, land locked to Earth. But it's gonna be extremely long time in the future. Yes, but even then, there's gonna be difference. I don't know, man. But there's a rope. You put another rope. You just think your flexibility is like, why the fuck not? Yeah.
There's a rail across Earth,
Rail! Oh my god, that's a great idea. That's way better than what I was going to say.
right? And then you've got your hook in here. It's allowed to slide through the rail.
So in theory, we could like lasso the moon in,
Yes.
bring it to us.
Oh,
Are there any
everything's gonna be
minerals
fine.
on the moon worth having? Any resources?
There is a fair amount of helium and also helium-3.
Well, we are running out of helium, so that is convenient.
There's a pretty good amount of water all over the moon too, so that's why, soon there'll be a moon base and they'll be able to collect most of the minerals that they need.
Soon there'll be a moon base. They've been promising moon base for years. They've been promising moon base for longer than James Cameron's been promising Avatar, and honestly, sick of this
Much
shit.
longer.
Well, you know what I'm not sick of? Ad time. How's this for a scenario? You're with your honey, and you both have regular size heads, but you have to share a headphone.
Well,
You lose. The correct answer was to get Raycons. Look, she's with someone new, and she's loving the up to 54 hours of battle life, and she can't stop putting them in her ears. The silky rubber finish is rigged for her pleasure. All right, pub quiz hotshot. It's Black Friday and it's time to stomp some heads. You gotta win her back by getting her some kind of present. But you don't want to spend too much money because she might have moved on. What do you do?
Well,
Get the Raycons. They're half the price of other premium brands, but still sound pretty good. Go to buyraycon.com/incognito to get them. Look, this guy loves them. All right, one final scenario. You're walking down the street and you see a homeless man and he asks you for a donation. You've only got one
Raycon?
thing on you that's
Oh,
of any
God.
value.
This won't feed you, but you can hear 6 songs if you're a player.
Do you do?
Take advantage of the noise reduction?
That's right. You have earned the good ending.
But that is better than giving him that.
the premium sound of Raycons forever. We've got a computer here too where you can go to buyraycon.com/incognito to get 20% off site-wide. Whoa, 30% off holiday bundles. Whoa, this really is heaven. And free shipping to the United States. Head over.
Seriously though, what he was talking about, that bringing asteroid to Earth, that is really hard than people understand. People just say like, let's mine asteroid, and people just imagine we can just bring asteroid to Earth like slowly, controlling. Like, are you kidding me? That is immensely hard. But yeah, usually when people talk about asteroid mining, it implies that you'll do most of your thing in space. You won't bring things to Earth directly like that, right? You'll have to come up with like a space elevator or some shit like that. I mean, you can bring asteroid, but it's not going to be worth it, basically, especially with the technology we have right now. Bringing that kind of a big chunks of things here could be really bad.
Say you had a box and you put it on like a little satellite that you were going to send to an alien planet. Like, what items would you put in there to represent like human civilization?
Good question. How big's a box?
Let's say it's the size of like a caravan.
Oh, big. Okay, definitely a person then.
Okay, just like a dude, like a dead guy, or just
Yeah,
Bye,
they can
John.
be dead. That's fine.
That's not a bad idea. Like a dead guy who's like kept from oxygen so he doesn't rot. So they've got like a fully
I'll
preserved.
just keep him in a cardboard box. So,
Just dump it.
yes. So
We don't have the budget for something.
You don't have to put him in ice or anything. Just sterilize him enough and just throw him in space. He's not going to rot in space.
Bigger.
I like the idea that when they just open up the flaps of the cardboard box, they ooh.
Oh my god.
I suppose you'd have a man and a woman.
Yeah.
A phone.
A phone, like an iPhone.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to give them the latest one because they don't know.
An iPhone 5 with a cracked screen.
Yeah. You don't want to give him the latest iPhone when you're doing this kind of a gigantic billions of dollars of project. Why you spend money in an iPhone?
All right.
It's not like they're going to start using it.
Exactly, yeah. Fuck it.
I'd probably get rid of just some trash. There's quite a lot of trash around.
And some batteries.
Yeah, because you can't dispose of batteries anywhere.
Yeah.
Bottle of Coke, full bottle. I kind of like the idea that okay, so when you're a pirate, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm familiar.
And you're burying treasure. Someone finds it 500 years later and they go, wow, this is not just a historical find. I'm going to be rich.
Love that.
I like the idea that they find a couple of human corpses, but also half a dozen bottles of Coca-Cola. There's going to be some rich one who's like, bruh, yeah, I'll pay you 50 billion alien pesos for half a bottle or something.
I think that's the first actually like really good suggestion. For
Or maybe they're caffeine is really toxic to them, or something in that sugar is really toxic to them, and they drink it, they die, they get angry, and they decide they're gonna bomb the earth, and they come here. Invasion is coming slowly just because of Coca-Cola. And perhaps they have a
alien
military,
box.
so yeah.
I mean,
don't know.
fuck Coca-Cola. But it's also a very popular drink and like a good representation of Western society. It's everywhere in the world. Great. And also, they might be pleased. They're like, oh, this is a treat. Or maybe it'll kill them. But great suggestion.
Ah, thank you. Maybe also
Music, I reckon.
music.
Mozart on a vinyl. Yeah.
Another good one, a handgun.
Yeah, just to show them that we mean
Mumble
business
rap.
would be good.
Yeah, well, we'll rig it up to a tripwire. Don't touch my stuff.
Yeah, I don't even know any artist, but I think there was one guy who was that really famous. Pomp or something. I don't even know the name, but yeah, just put mumble rap on the constant repeat. Yeah, then they'll definitely bomb us. They're like, Earth has to go, man.
All right, you're stuck in space. You're floating around.
Sweet.
Oh my god.
Loving it.
You're in a spacesuit. I come floating up to you. I go, ordinary things. help, help. My oxygen tank has been pierced. I'm gonna die.
Ooh. Oh, that sucks for you.
No, that's not what you say. Now, we've got just enough time. Quick, we can both survive, but we're gonna both have to get into the same spacesuit.
Oh, I've been tricked like this before.
Not posthumous, but in the movie Gravity, right? Clooney had that scene where, he was grabbing to Sandra Bullock, right? They just let go of the hand and they just drift away, like, with which force? When you were grabbing, you all had same momentum. How is letting go of your hand just move you? I don't even know, man.
So we
was just
have
funny
to both
shit.
squeeze in there. The question is, are you taking the front or the back?
Son is
I'll
better
take
than
the
let go.
front, I think. I'd rather be in the driver's seat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I trust you.
I swear, that's just my wallet, I swear.
It's not gay if it's on the moon.
Yeah, like legitimately, like you come back to Earth and they'll go, no, it wasn't. It's the moon. It doesn't count at all.
Doesn't count. No.
Neil Armstrong and
What
Buzz
happens in the
Aldrin,
moon
they
stays
could
in
have
the
done
moon.
it on the moon.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been considered gay. And then I suppose
We were lovers on the moon. You know, that's different.
someone shut this man up. Right, someone comes to you and says, ordinary
Wow, we're
things,
not gonna
you
talk
may
about that.
see the universe, but we can't travel faster than the speed of light, so you have to go into the cryopod.
Ah, the old time delay.
Yes, you can go to Alpha Centauri, but it will take 100 years,
That's
and
very
everyone you
Andromeda,
know will
basically.
be dead. Do you do it?
I don't want to just be like launched into the equivalent of Mars in Alpha Centauri and just be like, well, I'm here and I'm dead. I'm fucked.
No, they don't just drop
Like-
you off. You get to go on like a nice big ship. Maybe there's a nice lady there who's also frozen.
A nice little lady, a nice A-list celeb lady who is inexplicably an
Yeah. Margot Robbie. On a crowd thing like that, he's just looking like that. I don't even know. This scene is just perfect.
astronaut, yeah, as in all those movies.
Yeah, and you wake her up
Yeah.
early, and because you woke up early, and
Welcome. Oh,
Yeah,
whoopsie, but you don't have another choice, so you have to be my friend.
would you do it? Would you want to be one of the crew that goes to Alpha Centauri?
I think I would. I think it's worth it to go do something that literally no one else has done before. I'm down.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Yeah.
If you were one
See,
of the
people
first
say
to
that,
Alpha-
and I understand that, but that is just a concept, doing something that no one has ever done. But once you start doing it, and then the reality sets in, like, okay, I did something that no one has done, but now what? Holy shit, I'm fucked, right? I'm leaving Earth now. God knows. First of all, people need to understand, like, how perfect Earth is for human. Even though Earth is really hostile to human, we were born here, we evolved here, right? If we go to any other planet, even if it's Earth-like planet, smallest things can kill us, right? Just because, look at what happened when Europeans went to Americas, basically. Look at the all kind of disease and how many people got wiped out, right? And you think you can just go somewhere? I mean, you have to be extremely prepared for that. A mission should be extremely prepared for that. Even then, I don't think they can completely prepare for anything because it's all unknown.
Alpha Centauri, you just have thousands of things named after you forever.
The whole planet.
Yeah.
You get the planet.
Yeah.
If you're the first one there, it's like, this is me land, baby.
Yeah.
No governments. Money is banned. And I haven't thought this through.
You know, if you look at a place
Unless somebody
like
comes with
Earth,
guns.
every creek, every little nook or rock has a name to it. They did that like when people first came to Australia, and I can't help but notice that everything here is named either Murray or after Batman or
After Batman. Wait.
yeah, you don't know about everything being called Batman here?
No, that's new to me. That's
Oh, there's
news.
this guy. His name's like John Batman. And
Get out.
so there's like a Batman River and like a Batman street.
You're kidding.
In
Get
the
out.
middle of Melbourne. No,
No way. John
Yeah.
Batman. Oh my god, I'm looking him up now. What?
Look, in the past, how long did it take for
Gloss
people
over
to
that.
get
Scroll
from
down.
England to Australia? What was it like?
Oh, like a month.
Yeah, a couple of months.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, how long does it take to get to
Month?
Mars?
Come on.
At optimal speed, I think 9 months.
So what you're saying is that we should put all our criminals on Mars.
Hey, it worked once.
Did it, though?
How come Australia doesn't get a bit of a pass with a lot of its history?
That's a fair point.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, the terrible things that were done to the Aboriginals. But it's like, okay, but have you seen the average criminal reoffending rates? What did you expect?
Yeah, it's not like we sent them our best. We should... I've never thought about it like that, but that's honestly like a really decent argument for giving Australia a pass. But like,
Yeah, although it means they did all this stuff while they were out on probation.
That's like saying if some group go to visit some kind of a penitentiary or some big jail, right? Like Alcatraz or something, and all of them die because prisoners brutally killed them. And do those prisoners get a pass because they're in Alcatraz? It's still fucked up, right? They are even more fucked up now. Oh, there you go.
Now, everybody goes, oh, what the heck? Why'd you demote Pluto from planet to dwarf planet?
yes.
And I can't help but agree.
Yeah.
So
What?
basically, they had an idea in mind to make Pluto not a planet, and then they changed all the rules to make it fit their space-based agenda.
No.
Celestial identity politics have gone too far. That's what I say.
Yeah, exactly. There's 3 rules for a planet. Number 1, it must orbit a star.
Okay, I get what he's
Very
saying.
good. We're all on board for that, and that's one of the old rules.
That's fine. I can accept that. Asteroids, not planets.
Okay, before he says that, I know what he's gonna say. Like all the 3 rules feels like they specifically wrote that to single out Pluto. But that's not the case. You need to see beyond Pluto. All the icy bodies they found, right? In the Kuiper Belt, all the icy bodies are like Pluto. And there are way too many, bodies like that. Right? So you can't call all of them planet. Otherwise, what's the meaning of categorizing anything, right? Saying all these icy bodies are same as Jupiter is stupidest thing ever, right? When we only knew Pluto, like, fuck it, yeah, there you go, planet. It's big. Oh, look at that, it's small. Oh, look at this, even more small. Over the century, it got extremely smaller when we realize how actual size of it, what it is, right? So, obviously, those 3 rules are created to single out Pluto because that's the whole point, right? Those all icy bodies which Pluto is part of, Pluto's identical to all of those things, right? You're supposed to categorize them differently, right? So the planets can be different, right? We found way too many things that are like Pluto, right? They are behaving like Pluto, right? And Pluto's not behaving like any other planet, right? That we knew that from the start. So our knowledge just expanded, which is like Pluto doesn't belong in a planet category. So there you go, dwarf planet, right? With all the icy bodies, and there's way too many dwarf planets now. If you were to say that, okay, this is bullshit, like let's call Pluto a planet, there would be way too many planets here. And it would be really hard to process like what it is to be a planet, right? Saying Jupiter and, Ceres, all these are the same, it just feels weird because Ceres would be planet too then, if you're going to categorize Pluto a planet.
Cool.
Number 2, it must be big enough to have enough gravity to force it into a spherical shape.
Yeah.
Agreed. That's a brilliant one.
Fine, I'll accept that. But if we see a cube planet at some point, then I feel like we will need to revisit this rule. But as it stands, fine.
Yeah, if there was something
can
as big
be.
as Earth, but somehow cube, they'd change the rules
Cube
again.
Earth.
Yeah. Now, the new rule they brought in was it must be big enough that its
Clear the
gravity
path.
clears away any other objects of similar size in its orbit.
Bullshit.
That is a very specific rule, just designed to persecute Pluto.
Who came up
really?
with this rule?
Well, it was a big committee made up of the deep space state. And one of the reasons that they essentially made this rule was because, well, Pluto actually has a moon that's almost the same size as Pluto. So
Sharon.
Pluto wouldn't even just be one planet, it would be like several planets. But also,
That's
out
the
in the
only
Oort cloud, there
Yeah.
are probably similar sized planets to Pluto, but hundreds, maybe thousands of them.
I
Yeah.
see.
And so actually, even in our own given solar system, there would be thousands of them. So what they're running into is a naming problem. Because, well, we can't teach kids that there are thousands of planets. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Okay, turns out there are thousands of planets, and a lot of them are really boring and far away. Okay, but here's the main 9.
Yeah, here's the big 9. Why don't you
that's
call
not
them
how
the
it
big
works.
planets and the small planets and be done with it?
There's also a couple of objects in the Kuiper
That's
Belt.
not how it works. Then you would say like, Why would you call brown star brown star? Let's just call it gas giant since it's not a proper star. Then lots of categories would get, thinned out. You can't really, do that, right? The whole point, space is, anything that is named in space usually is for the easy to understand element, right? When you think of anything that is related to space, that would be, right? Even the names, like look at the Big Bang, black hole, it's for easy to understand. If you call all these icy bodies, thousands of icy bodies probably, and call them a planet, like you can't really say like Jupiter and that thing is same. So you needed to, I guess, refine the category, like what makes Jupiter and basically Pluto and Charon or any other icy bodies different, right? So they're like Jupiter is so big and dominant that there is nothing in its field. It probably sucked all in during the creation. So that's a proper planet. All these are still planets, but dwarf planets. You can't really categorize same as Jupiter.
I think that would suddenly qualify as planets. So Ceres would suddenly become a planet.
Yeah.
Ceres? What even is Ceres? Oh, Ceres. Oh, okay. But that's clearly a moon. It looks like a moon.
Well, it's not what it looks like. It's how it acts, isn't it? It's in the
like a
orbit
moon.
between Mars and Jupiter.
Yeah.
Why don't we just make Ceres a planet
Yes,
instead?
absolutely.
To be honest, I'm just going to show my ignorance a little bit. I've never heard of Ceres before. In a way, I feel like you've just made this up to make me look strange. Wait, what's make?
Maki.
Maki. Is that a type of sushi?
Oh, yeah.
Or
Okay.
it's
It's
stored in
another planet.
Hawaii.
It's just further out.
Oh, I love it. It's cute.
I mean, it's a dwarf planet, but...
Why does one of them have boobies?
this one.
There's no need for that. Come on.
Eris? Oh, it's a dwarf planet as well.
I'm learning new things here.
Well,
no
no
Need to
more
wonder
learning.
what.
It's time for some answers, damn it. Big question time. Ordinary things.
Yeah.
Are there any aliens?
No.
All right. Is the universe infinite?
It's like a bike wheel. Technically, it's infinite, but you just end up where you were in the first place.
That's good enough for me. Is there a god?
Yes, and it's me. Suck my...
There we go. Will we ever find out all of the mysteries of the universe?
What if we already have...
I'll tell you what it is.
Is
the real
friendship?
answer is love. And that's all you need.
Space or love, which is bigger? And if you could only
Stupid
have
NASA, they don't
one,
know anything.
what would you have?
Oh, what about space love?
Is that like zero-G shagging?
Yeah, or where you're on the moon and someone says like, "Oh, I love you." It's like kind of non-committal, and they don't really hear you on the radio, and you go, "What?" And they go, "Oh, nothing, over."
What if you're on the moon and then they go into kiss and then they accidentally shatter their space helmets?
No.
Is that
like two
fragile?
people vigorously doing cheers.
Yes. Moon love turns to moon tragedy.
It must happen all the time.
That's little stories.
On
tragic
the
one.
moon, in the future, we'll all have Raycons.
Yep. Best episode ever. I loved it. Anything space, I just fucking love it, right? Obviously, I know. If, internet historian is so knowledgeable, right? I mean, you can feel that with every video, right? You know where his knowledge lies. He knew most of these things, but he was deliberately, I guess, making joke about that, which was so fun, right? There were so many things in there. I could have been, actually, but I didn't do that because I knew that he was, just joking. But yeah, I was almost like this. Actually, so I love this, man. This was such a good one, right? I always look on for in the field videos. That's always fun. Just sit around with one of your friends, just talk about any shit, right? Internet students should do this a lot, right? This is so good. I hope videos like this. I mean, it's already trending number 14 on gaming. How is this gaming? But okay, I like how it's trending, right? So I guess he can do more and more of that because main channel thing requires a lot of effort. Obviously, that's going to take a long time. But things like this, just sit around, do a bit of research, like which topic to talk about, and just talk about it. It's just awesome. Right, well, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.